So the last 4 rules of implication that you need to learn for this week are as follows. So we've already introduced the constructive dilemma, CD, here, so that we've already talked about as a valid form. The final 3 rules of implication are kind of interesting ones. So the first one here is simplification, or SIMP for short. When we use our proofs, we'll use that abbreviation. Simplification just simply says that if you have a conjunction, you can simplify out one of the conjuncts. So if you have Nancy and Barbara are going to the fair, you can simplify it out and say Nancy is going to the fair. Okay, that's all that it basically is saying. So if you have a conjunction, and only a conjunction, you can simplify out one of the conjuncts. As sort of the flip side to this, we have the rule conjunction, or CONJ for short. So conjunction says that for any 2 lines, you can take those 2 lines and join them together with an ampersand or a dot. So again, we have here P line. We had P on one line and Q on another, but you could have any sort of thing. You could have like H tribar M, and then for Q you could have A or B. So you could still do something like this. So if you had something like that, let's take those out. Good form here. Oops. A or B. This rule says you can take those 2 lines, as long as they're on separate lines, and you can put them together with the ampersand or the dot. So we'll just put this here, right? That's what it says. The final rule, which is always the one that I think people find very weird, and it kind of feels like you're cheating, is addition. And addition says that if for any line you can add another whole variable to it. Okay? So say you have a proof where, again, the only proposition is H tribar M. Well, addition says that you can just introduce an entirely new letter, whole new letter. And as long as you attach it with a wedge, you can do that. So you could say H tribar M, or let's just say J. That's what it says. So addition is kind of a funny rule. It weakens the claim, because this is to say, H tribar M is a lot stronger than to say H tribar M or J. Okay, it would be like saying, because one of these could easily be false, and still the whole disjunction would be true. That's the basic idea here. So again, the point of all of this is to memorize these rules, and I, again, strongly suggest that you look at the strategies that the book outlines at the end of every chapter. Because those strategies will help you take these rules and try to find them in individual arguments. Okay. So let's look over here at this example, right? So we have 3 premises, and then we have this conclusion, which is R and P. So one of the strategies used by your book is if you have a conclusion that is a conjunction, basically, probably somewhere along the line in the proof, you're going to have to take 2 letters and use the conjunction rule to make the conclusion here, right? So that's like kind of a hint that at some point you're going to have to do that. It's going to be probably your last step, basically, to do this. Okay. So again, what we're going to do here is we're going to take the previous rules we learned, modus ponens, modus tollens, disjunctive syllogism, hypothetical syllogism, and add these 4 other ones to the mix, and use those 8 rules to derive our conclusions here. So let's look what we got here. So we know we need this R, it's coming from line 1, and we know we need this P, it's coming from line 2, and so somewhere along the lines we're going to have to do something where in order to isolate out these letters, we're going to probably have to do something like modus ponens, right? Because that's the only way to isolate out the consequent of a conditional statement here, right? And to put it by itself. So we're going to have to do that somehow, but we need something that will match the antecedents of both of these lines. So all that we have right now is line 3 with H. Now, right off the bat, we're going to use the funny rule of addition in order to accomplish what we want to accomplish. So, as we know from the rule of addition, all we got to do is take line 3, put a wedge in, and then put whatever letter we want into the mix. And that letter can be negated too, by the way. So this rule is kind of a convenient rule. So here we could just say, on line 3, we're going to use the rule of addition, add. Now, I should note that for the rules of simplification and addition, you're only going to be using one line. So you should only have one number here in your justification here. The other rules involve 2 lines. Okay. So we're going to take line 3, and let's just start with line 1 here. We're trying to get the R out. So hey, let's just go ahead and on line 3, attach a not B to it using the rule of addition. Right? So automatically we can see, all right, this now matches the antecedent on line 1. So we're going to derive then by using lines 1 and 4 and the rule of modus ponens, right, because these match, we can derive out our R. Okay, so we got it now. Okay, so now let's try to get the P out. So again, we are going to reuse a line here. Okay, so we're going to go back again to line 3, and we're going to use the rule of addition. And this time we could add in our not M. So H or not M. Okay? And then, using the rule of modus ponens, we're going to derive out P. So from lines 2 and 6, using the rule of modus ponens, we've got the P by itself. And so, finally, as we talked about at the beginning here, we're going to need to do some sort of conjunction in order to get line 5 and line 7 together. So we'll do with line 5 and 7 the rule of conjunction here. And we're just going to join them up. R and P. And there you go. There's our conclusion. So we have proven this example to be a valid argument.